All right, has Bitcoin topped? Do you think Bitcoin bear market for crypto Bitcoin has started? Right, look at this. It's a dangerous situation, and Pablo has been the only one to call out this situation as it was playing out. I kept on saying we're heading down here to retest this head and shoulders area, right? We've got shoulder, head, shoulder here, right? Been talking about this for a long time, right? Basically, the around this 110, 111K area. And I'm going to take you guys through today to see what the whales are doing. We're going to look at a number of on-chain evidence to see if Bitcoin has topped, if 124K was the top, or will there be another blow-off top bounce from here. So basically, we can see that the one problem that I've been highlighting in my last few videos is that this structure doesn't quite have symmetry. This was the left shoulder, head is fine, double top, double head pattern, and then right shoulder. If we break down here, that's a pretty small shoulder, right? Like if you look at this as a person, that's their left shoulder, that's their head, and that's their right shoulder. It'd be like this. It'd be someone who looks like this. So basically, usually these head and shoulder patterns are more accurate when you have more symmetry. Like what I mean by symmetry is this. Like look at this. You have shoulder, head, double head, and shoulder. And the breakdown works out perfectly and hit the target almost perfectly. It gave us a projection from the neckline down to 73K and hit 74K. So here, as this is playing out, I lean towards this probably not being a classic, well-defined head and shoulders pattern for this to play out. And I'll show you guys some evidence. I think what's happening here is the exchange is crashing the market, right? I've shown you guys yesterday how much the exchanges made with their with this crash. Okay, this is the chart I'm referring to. This is the total liquidations chart, right? The total number of longs that are liquidated are in the green. Number of shorts liquidated are in the red. And look at this. This is like a massive spike. Massive spike. This is the biggest liquidation date so far this year. Right? So like since the bounce up in April, this was the bottom in April. This has been the biggest liquidation event so far. Like twice as big as some of the other shockers along the way. So it just makes me suspicious. Like if we see prices crash and we think it's not a natural crash because Bitcoin whales are selling or old wallets are waking up and they're selling whatever, and that's fine. But if I see on that same day so many longs get flushed out, then I just think it's too much of a coincidence. Somebody's benefiting from this. Somebody made a lot of money, namely Binance, right? Because they're the largest exchange by far, and they made a lot of money on a day like this, and now they're free to push up the market because now they have no one's going long. Like a lot of the longs have been washed out, so they have no more burden to push the market up now. Why would Binance want to push the market up? I will show you guys evidence of why Binance wants to push the market up in just a sec. Let's have a look at another chart. So Bitcoin, for example, I think what's likely to happen here is, first of all, it's a good sign that we're seeing this bottoming tail. But however, this bottoming tail is not classic enough. If we have a long wick and we close here, right, then that's great. And also, the problem I have with this bottom tail is it's not even hitting, right, some of the key levels like this red resistance line, a support line, and also this trend line or this descending channel, right? At least for technical bounce, we should bounce off this channel. I've marked it in blue, and also this red line here. But we're not seeing any of that at the moment, right? And we can see how important this red line is, right? It's basically been carrying Bitcoin for all this time. Some people might even interpret it as a shoulder, head, shoulder break. And if we come so close, if this red line is so important, and you have to think, if you're the market makers, right, then we come so close to this the trend line and we don't break, we don't do a test down to wick down and then wick above, we just leave it hang here, like just safely $2,000 above this level, I'm not sure about that. Usually when they come here, they rip it down, get everyone scared, everyone to go short, and you get the funding raise to flip green. This will flip very green and heavily green, and then that's when they rip it back up again. But before we get onto the Bitcoin whales and see what they're doing and see what the on-chain action is like, first, let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo Jimenez use? Well, Pablo uses this exchange that's non-KYC, which means there is no need to show your ID. That means even the exchange can't see who you are. So that's why I made this deal with them. That means the IRS can't see you, the FBI, the tax office, the CIA, nobody can see you, not even the tax office. Total privacy, right? So just for Pablo's followers who click on this link, exclusive prizes for the next month up to $120,000, up to $120,000. And look at this, right? Deposit $100 and get 20 USDT bonus. Deposit $1,000 and get 200 USDT bonus, right? Basically 20% bonus. Deposit $500, get 100 US dollars bonus, 20% bonus. And even just by ranking in the top 30 of the prize pool of performance and trading volume, you get to win a big prize in the potentially up to $120,000 trading pool. Okay, let's get back to the markets, folks. But remember, this deal finishes limited time only, finishes on October 16th. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, then the link is in the description below. But if you're watching this on any other platform such as this one, that's okay. Just click on my profile page and there is my link tree or stand link, and it should be the first deal that pops up because this is a great deal. Okay, let's get back to the markets, folks. And remember, this deal is only available on the Pablo Jimenez link. Only on the Pablo Jimenez link. So with Bitcoin, so here's the thing. We haven't touched this major support area yet between this blue descending channel and this red rising right support line. And that's around 110.9K area. So I'll tell you why I think that's important. First of all, let's have a look. We've seen so many leveraged long futures get liquidated in the last 24 hours in crypto right now. And that's happened like 6 times so far since the start of this bull run from when Bitcoin was around 25, 30K. This was November 23, this was August 24, December 24, Feb 25, June 25, and now September 25. And we can see that each time, even though it felt huge, but it's actually just a small red bar in the chart, right? Small red bar here, small red bar here. I mean, this looks pretty huge, but you know, it doesn't look huge now. And the reason why it doesn't look huge now is because they usually signal the bottom. There was the bottom and markets went up. Bitcoin went up. There was the bottom and Bitcoin went up. Bottom, at least Bitcoin made a bounce up. This almost signaled the bottom, right? And then Bitcoin went up. This was the bottom, right? And Bitcoin went up. So when it wasn't the bottom, we can see that price tend to go down just a tiny little bit lower. This was the bottom in 28th of Feb, and Bitcoin bottom 6 weeks later, not much lower, like 3.5% lower here, right? This was just a little bit lower here, right? Maybe 3% lower. So what does that mean for the current situation we're in right now? It would fit my estimation that if we were to bottom another 3% or something like that lower here, that would bring us down to something like this. Something like here, wick through here to 109K area, right? Something like this, big wick through, boom, and we bottom and up we go. That would make sense. Or we can't rule out the option that that basically this was the bottom and up we go. So those are the 2 probabilities, and I lean towards probably one more wick down through to 109K area, and then up we go. And of course, there's always the probability that this wasn't the bottom, this was a fake out, and this line does get broken, and turns out this was a head and shoulders, right? In real head and shoulders, head, shoulder, and in that case, we would break down to 92K as a target, 93K area here as a target. And I've spoken about this quite often, but I think that is of the three probabilities, I'll be clear here. I think a breakdown to 92, 93 is probably the lowest probability. I'd say small probability. The much larger probability, I think, right? I'm sticking my neck out on the chopping block here, taking big risks, making this call. I think the bigger probability is that we actually bounce somewhere off this line, but we need to probably wick through this line first, wick through, close above, and then up we go. This being the bottom right here at 111.6K, it's possible, but that's the second most likely scenario in my mind. So yeah, most likely, I think we wick through to about 110K, 109K, and then we bounce. Next big leg up begins. Second most likely is if this 111K is the bottom right now. And third and least likely, I think we break down here and just go to 92K. Big call, right? Yeah. So where's the evidence that supports this? Well, one, we've seen what happens every time when there's a big flash out. And I've just shown you guys with the previous chart that this was a major flash out day for crypto. Something like $12 billion got liquidated. Another way to look at this situation is this, okay? So as I said at the start of this video, it was it's the market makers of exchanges who do this. But it's not the Bitunix, right? Not the Bitunix market makers doing this. It's the Binance, because they're the largest crypto exchange in the world by far. They're like 85% of the market. They can see exactly where all the orders are, where your long stop loss is, and where short stop losses are, right? So they basically make and move this market. Bitunix, for example, is the largest non-KYC, which means you don't need to show your ID, but they're small compared to Binance. So Binance essentially sets these big flushes. That's the information I'm getting anyway. So look, when we have these big flushes, then this founder of Binance comes out and he says, I hope you bought the dip. And then big flash, and he says, remember, by definition, everything before the next dip, next all-time high is a dip, right? And then we had this crash again recently, and he says, things to avoid in crypto, selling the dip, right? And yesterday, when we had that big flash out once again, 2 days ago, right? He says, maybe we haven't hit the real bull market yet, right? And then yesterday, 2 days ago, when we had that big flash down to 111K, he says again, dips are important for establishing support levels, which are like the foundations of a house. So this is the most powerful man in crypto right now, signaling to you, these are dips. These dips are for buying. These dips are for buying, right? And I believe, with some evidence, that he's actually the guy who's instructing his market makers to create these dumps like what we had yesterday, because there are too many longs on Binance. Like, see, if we look at this, for example, this is Bitcoin, and first one they show is Binance, because that's the largest exchange in the world by far. And you have these other exchanges, and Bitunix is there because it's the largest non-KYC exchange in the world by far. So, like, when it was all red a few days ago, that means everyone was loaded and ready to push prices up, right? And everyone would make a lot of money when prices go up, and Binance would then lose money because they're on the other side of the trade. So therefore, they have to flush it out, take out all the longs, and now everything goes green, right? It's not green enough yet, but we go a little bit more green. And then when everyone's short, then they pump it up again. They take out the longs, take out the shorts, and they don't have to pay out anybody. That's how something like Binance works. And then you probably say, oh, Pablo, of course he would say buy the dip, buy the dip. If I'm a whale and I'm doing my exit strategy, I would always say buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, right? Because I'm selling to you guys. Sure, but here's the thing. He's been talking about this, buy the dip, since 74K bottom, right? He's been saying, I hope you bought the dip, right? By definition, everything before the next all-time high is a dip, right? And this was like 99K, right? He's been talking about this for a long time. And do you know why else I think he's not lying? Look at this. This is the chart of his own of his own coin, which is called the BNB coin here. And what's BNB doing right now? BNB is on a massive run right now, and it's running for new historical high, new all-time high. Look at this, right? I showed this in my last video, and we can see this. Let me just put it onto weekly chart so we can have a better look. It's easily running into a new all-time high. It's having a blow-off top moment right now. CZ owns something like 85% or 80% of supply. He hides it between different wallets. Why would he want to stop the bull run right now? 2021 top, $670. 2024 top, $790. Today, right, $180 last week on Sunday. And then it drops to $957 and it wicks back, right? So he's clearly having a breakout, having a bull run. Why would he want to crash his own party, right? Yes, he, as I explained, right? Because the market is too long. This was all read before. The market is going too long. If he pushes up the price of Bitcoin now, right, then he will take massive losses. He needs to crash the market, take out the longs, get everyone to go short like it is right now, go green, and then he goes long. When he goes long, then market, traders come in and they also buy up his Binance coin, BNB coin. So BNB coin, look, it can pull back, but he would not want a massive drop here. He wouldn't want the bear market to start here. He wouldn't want anything bad to happen, right, to his BNB coin. He's worth like $60 billion right now, and he holds 80% of this coin supply. It's like another safe moon situation, right? So, like, yeah, we could get a more drop like this. It could go to something like a 90 area for Binance coin, and then next leg up, right? May not even dip that low, He just launched his second coin, which is called Aster. He doesn't want that to go down either. He's he's like in the mental space of a startup founder right now, because his new coin's called Aster and it's just launched. Okay, what are some other reasons why we think this market could be going up? This is a seasonal chart. This is a seasonal chart of Bitcoin every year, and for the last 10 years, January, February, March, whatever. And we can see that the dotted lines are basically the best case scenarios and the worst case scenarios. Like here is best case scenario in a year, seasonal pattern, and here is worst case scenario in a year. And we can see there's usually this dip in September. September is a bad month for Bitcoin, right? But then comes October, November, December, usually Bitcoin outperforms. So if we don't get too crazy, if we don't get too bullish, we just say, look, if we just pick the 30th percentile, right? 30th percentile, as in like 70% of the times Bitcoin did better than this. We're only picking the 30th percentile. It's 70% of the times Bitcoin will do better. So this is low expectations. This is not anything crazy. It will be this blue line. And so far this year, the red line is the price so far this year is tracing this blue line very closely, right? It's tracing it very closely. And if we keep on tracing this blue line, we'll get something like this, right? And Bitcoin then would go to something like 145 to 160K area, right? Which is what I've been calling for all this time. That would be the blow off top that I have in mind. And the sharpest ascent would be October and probably November. So what we call October. And also something I've noticed on Ethereum. Look, on Ethereum, have a look at this. I think I've been talking about a head and shoulders on Ethereum. I happen to think that this is actually not exactly a proper head and shoulders, because again, we have the lack of symmetry, right? But I mean, charting is not an exact science. So once again, this doesn't have a lot of symmetry to it, right? The head is skewed here. And these shoulders just lacking symmetry. I could be wrong, and this does play out as a head and shoulders. If it does, as per my warning from the last few videos, it goes to about this 3,300 area. But so far, what this looks like to me is actually a bull triangle, a bull flag, a bull triangle, I would say. So basically, like, I'll make it a little bit more obvious here. So something like this. And that's your triangle pattern here. This is the bull triangle. So here would be massive flagpole, right? And this, see the red, is the bull triangle. We do dips like this, and then boom, up we go. And then maybe something like wick down and bounce off this line. This red line, as I can show you guys, is basically the supporting line of Ethereum since the start of this move on around April 7th, April 9th. It supported Ethereum all this time. So ETH could hold steady here and then bounce off this level, and then boom, right, up we go. So something like this. So ETH could go a little bit lower. If Bitcoin goes to 109K area, ETH goes to something like just below 4,000, 39.70, 39.50, around there, boom. And then you can call it a bull flag or a bull triangle. But once again, here is the flagpole, here's the triangle, and then boom, dip, one more, and up we go. And that's the blow off top. And we're already seeing signs of it with Ethereum doing a 3.5x in the last 3 months, and we've seen BNB season, right, is having a major run. Solana and XRP, I believe a lot of those coins and mid caps as well are going to start running soon. Okay, I'll keep you guys updated. This is Pablo. Catch you next episode.